A not-for-profit makes an acquisition or purchase when it buys the operations of another entity. Just for clarity, we're not talking about buying assets like property, but buying an operating entity or business. For example, an operating daycare centre or disability service. These transactions happen quite often in the not-for-profit sector, but are not always noticed. In 2016, for example, Mercycare undertook a major acquisition when it purchased residential aged care services from Belrose Care, which increased Mercycare's resident numbers from 113 to 500. It should be noted that making an acquisition doesn't necessarily require the buying organisation to give cash or other assets to the selling organisation. Not-for-profits and governments can and do transfer operating assets for little or no compensation, particularly where they are unprofitable. In several states across Australia, state governments have been transferring disability and mental health services to the not-for-profit sector and also funding the acquiring organisations. There are many reasons a not-for-profit will choose to buy parts of a business of another organisation. Those with a strategy of growth will achieve greater increase in market share and more quickly when they purchase existing operations, particularly those that are in competition to theirs. This can be a smart choice when compared to the costs, risks and timeframes involved in trying to grow organically. Other reasons for purchasing include fulfilling mission. Even where a not-for-profit organisation is not intending to grow, if its sister organisation finds itself in financial trouble, a not-for-profit will often purchase the operating assets in order to ensure that there is a continuity of service to beneficiaries. With a tightening of budget conditions and growing demand for services, not-for-profits have also had to find new and innovative ways of generating income. In some cases, this involves establishing fee-earning enterprises alongside free or subsidised services. For example, disability services providing occupation or physiotherapy have established or bought fee-earning operations that are available to the general public. The profits from these enterprises are then used to support ongoing not-for-profit activities. Not-for-profits can also buy commercial enterprises, such as coffee shops or clothing stores, to both generate income and provide services to beneficiaries such as those receiving mental health or youth employment support. On several occasions, we've been asked to put together business plans for organisations considering building these kinds of operations from scratch. Our advice is often to compare the options of starting up the business themselves with buying an existing successful enterprise. The latter is often a lower risk option that also produces a predictable revenue and profit, particularly when the not-for-profit has no previous commercial experience in these areas. When boards and CEOs start thinking about their opportunities to acquire operating assets from other organisations, be they other not-for-profits, for-profits or even governments, it's often surprising the options that appear. Acquisitions can be simple or complex, such as purchasing an operating entity in collaboration or joint venture with another organisation, or the equivalent of offtake agreements or service contracts. And in the acquisition of the operating organisation, there are always human resource issues to consider. When undertaking any purchase, the board and the executive team will need to undertake full due diligence investigations, and we will cover some of these in the next section.